Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
As the racing action continues, as we've just seen in real life, we get to jump back into the sim for round number 13 of the Monticello Motor Club racing action. And we come down to Mugello here for the GT3 cars. And tonight it is looking like it's going to be a good one. Heat number 1 is already on its way and ready to go. Qualifying has been set in stone. And we've got our drivers already lining up to get this heat number 1 on the way. Paul and Ian Barthelms lead this one up in front, with Jeff Ernsting in third position. Currently, Sean McAuliffe takes fourth position with Owen Barthelms just sitting behind in fifth. Andrew Barton in sixth with Mike Poe and William Farr in seventh and eighth position. Melissa Barthelms in ninth position with Jason Cohen in 10th. Ron Trinker takes 11th with Manny Tartaglione down in 12th position. 13th is Matthew Bruno, and 14th, our final driver on tonight's grid, is going to be Max Walkiewicz in 14th position. I'm joined tonight by Derek Leonard in the commentary box and Egg Barthelms in the production booth here for tonight's racing action. And we've got no time to waste as heat number 1 gets started. What are we expecting here today, Derek? Because I think the GT3s are really going to give us a run for our money today.
Yeah, this track is made for the GT3s. As we see the lights go out on the pace car, we're about to be green flag racing here very soon. I am happy to see a couple of members on the front row. These Barthelms kids, brothers, on the front row in these GT3s, a pair of Mustangs, a little American muscle here in this Italian countryside. I am excited for a fantastic race tonight, Tristan.
Yeah, absolutely. So apologies about that mistaken call. These are the GT4s coming in tonight, it looks like. So a little bit of a change coming around. Slightly smaller cars, slightly smaller aerodynamic package, but the same racing action nonetheless getting presented to you tonight. A good range of cars that we get to see as well. The Mercedes, the Porsche, the Mustangs being your common picks is what it seems. The BMW is also a bit prominent, but not as prominent as the rest. Now, Mugello, a very technical circuit, but the GT4 is going to be slightly better suited, slightly slower through our corners and the straights, and a bit more control given to our drivers throughout every single corner. It's going to be a good day of racing, though, as we obviously mentioned. Those two Barthelmes members up in front are going to be challenging each other quite a bit. And down at the back side there, we've got Max and Matthew Bruno also going to be challenging each other as it comes down towards the starting line. Our gantry lights are showing up, and our Ford Mustang pace car up in front, the lights are off, which means it's going to be pulling in soon enough. It all comes down to the matter of when the track actually comes to the end of its cycle. But as mentioned before, I think it's still going to be a good amount of racing with the GT4 cars, no matter the fact that I believe we did have GT3s last week, if I'm not mistaken. I thought I was being deceived when when I saw the slightly smaller aerodynamic packages, but it's still going to be some good racing with the GT4s.
Oh, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see all this family affair racing. I tell you, it is a club staple. And like you said, this track is very technical. I know these guys have been putting in a lot of practice on this layout. I've been watching their lap times come down and down. Everybody's getting faster. They were practicing yesterday. They've been practicing today. I'm looking forward to some really good, clean, exciting racing tonight.
Absolutely so. And technicality is something that's going to be probably spoken about quite a bit yet tonight. We've got a good series of corners here, well over 12 corners at the Mugello circuit here tonight, and also a very common track that we get to see in GT level racing. And so, like we mentioned, it's great to see the GT4s taking back out on track. I believe we are approaching the final couple of corners of Buchanan and the Biondetti doubles. And then we do indeed see our starting gantry lights. Our Ford Mustang pace car is going to be pulling right-hand side into the pit lane imminently and getting us started. And a for away here for tonight's racing. The first heat of 2 heats coming to you live here on the Monticello Motor Club YouTube channel, provided to you by Apex Racing TV. It is soon going to be green lights at the top side of your screen. The Mustangs rolling down towards the start, and it is officially green lights. It's lights out and away we go. The two Barthelmes up in front trying to give each other a run for their money. It's a dive down though towards turn number 1. It looks like Ian Barthelmes on that inside line is going to be able to hold it against the yellow Mustang, but it depends on which way the corner converts. It's a right-hander for turn number 1, and it means that the black Mustang there, Ian Barthelmes, a bit of a line here, trying to hold on the outside though is Paul Barthelmes and that Kaboom Mustang, but he's losing out slightly. But the two of them challenging, a bit of a bump though, and the likes of the number 11 going a little bit wide over the stand as well. Ooh. Slight rear loss of grip on that Mustang and getting very edgy in the two front cars, it seems.
It is. I'm telling you, they're elbows out on the first lap. These brothers are really getting after it. And the Kaboom car there is looking like it looks like, I mean, it's too close to call in the first lap here, as these Mustangs are door to door through the back half of the circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sean McAuliffe also trying to put his nose in and join in to make it a 3-way fight. Poe is unfortunately dropping down. That's Mike Poe down 10th position now. He's made a mistake in the background. And I'm not too sure there's another mistake there. Ernst goes around in the McLaren, and he's fortunate.
Yeah, the McLaren is around, over-rotated. I think there might have been a touch of contact there. But
the
McAuliffe is clear, and the Barthelmes also clear.
Apologies about that. I think I dropped off for 1 second, but we're all good and back at the racing. The two Barthelmes brothers still up in front, holding that fight with the Porsche just in the background, trying to keep up and challenge for this 3-way podium. And you can see that McAuliffe's now gotten into that 3-way, and he's been able to get into second position, pushing the likes of Ian Barthelmes a little bit further behind and trying to challenge for that podium top spot. But the Kaboom Mustang doing everything that it can. There we see William Farr with a little bit of damage on the front side of that Porsche. It seems like he's had a bit of a tackle for the first part of this race.
We're getting a tow, though, from Ernsting there. That's excellent. Not bad racecraft out of William Farr here on the first lap. And like you said, Paul Barthelmes, one of the sons of Owen and Melissa Barthelmes. We have all 4 Barthelmes, great members of Monticello, mother, father, and both the kids all racing in this race tonight, and all inside the top 11. So it's good to see the whole family out tonight, turning some good laps so far in this race.
yeah, different families have got different ways of spending time together, and the Barthelmes decide to do it here at the Monticello Motor Club, and they've been doing
Absolutely.
it for a couple of rounds, 13 rounds in, and still contesting each other out on track. But Paul trying to show that dominance up in front in the Mustang, and Ian just trying to follow in his wake. Sean McAuliffe's doing a great job, though, keeping it between those Mustangs. It's a completely different engine architecture between the top three right now. The two Mustangs, much bigger up front engines, with the Porsche rocking a rear engine sitting just at the back side of that car. Barton's also trying to gain in, and currently the top five is a split between the Porsches and the Mustangs. Ernsting just sitting outside of that top five after the spin, and fortunately able to hold on to it for the remainder of it. 17 minutes left to go, though. Unfortunately, we've lost one driver in this race, and Trenker down to the final spot in his Mustang.
It's good to see Jason Cohen out driving a BMW tonight. You know, he makes almost all of his time in Stuttgart hardware. He loves the McLarens. He loves the Porsches. Happy to see him taking a chance on the BMW, even though he has martini livery on a BMW. That is an interesting combination out of Jason Cohen. Message received for what he thinks about the Bavarian machine there in the martini livery, but we're happy to have him out. That's a sharp looking car, Tristan. Very good looking with the martini livery on that BMW M4.
I was about to say, absolutely love that like shiny chromatic style livery that he's got rocking over there in that martini. And I'm a big livery guy, and I love when we see the effort from the liveries. Now we see a bit of a challenge though from Barthelmes on the outside line. It's Ian trying to find his way in the Ford Mustang. They're going to be side by side. Slightly better top speed on that Mustang, but the Porsche, better rotation with that engine placement, and he's able to get around the corner in a great loop there. McAuliffe continues pushing up in his green Porsche Cayman and climbing up the ranks here as the likes of Paul Barthelmes, he's got the opportunity here to run away. The more that McAuliffe and Ian Barthelmes fight.
Yeah, Paul Barthelmes sitting on the purple lap right now is just using this battle between McAuliffe and his brother to get a bigger gap. He's just opening up a little bit of a gap there, 1.2 seconds over second place. The Kaboom car is just running a clean air and looking really good out front. And we have three Barthelmes in the top five in the early going here, lap 3.
Yeah, even last week, though, the Barthelmes were really doing well contesting the top spots, and so they really have shown their dominance here at the Monticello Motor Club challenge. And as we see the Porsche fading out left, that's a bit of a mistake from Sean McAuliffe, and it's given the likes of Ian Barthelmes a bit of a launch up there in his black Mustang, and he's able to get up ahead for the time being.
Tristan, I think that Sean got caught looking in his mirrors, missed his braking point, and just drove it deep in the corner. Could not get it stopped, could not get it turned, and left the door wide open for that black Mustang. You see here, he's got the lead, and then he just misses that braking point and just cannot get it to turn, and that opened the door for the Mustang to get through clean.
Yeah, great move there from the Mustang just to move up into the second position spot again. So now it's a battle between the Barthelmes up in front, like it was at the start of this race. Let's see if they can contest against each other. Number 11 versus the number 4, and that's going to be a great one to watch. The two Porsches also sitting just into the top 3 and 4, tied for the final podium spot between McAuliffe and Barton, and obviously Owen Barthelmes, the father of the 4-pack, currently sitting in 5th position, also trying to get back up towards the top and potentially challenge his sons up in front. That would be a good scene to watch here for tonight's racing. Unfortunately for the rest of the grid, we've got a bit of a drop-off, and most of our drivers have begun distancing each other in terms of the actual track position. Our main fights currently is what we see on screen right now. Sean McAuliffe on the backside of Ian Barthelmes, and then Owen Barthelmes on the backside of Andrew Burton. That's also going to be a fight that's going to be closing in soon. You can see just in the background, the purple Porsche is slowly getting closed in by that yellow and black checkered. Oh, that is a great livery as well. My word, it's the good old American warplane livery. My goodness. The bottoms are racking up some liveries here.
Oh, listen, the Barthelmes merch trailer is on fire. They're trucker hats, T-shirts. The Barthelmes are the king of merch when it comes to iRacing, and tonight is no different. This is, as you mentioned, Tristan, a 5-car race right now. We've got 5 cars within 4.5 seconds of first place, and then the rest of the field, starting at car number 6 with Jeff Ernsting, is a little bit off the pace as there's some contact there as far and I think it was Farr and Ersting went around.
Yeah, it looks
Or maybe
like
that was Manny
could be.
T.
I think that's Tartaglion.
Yeah, it's Manny
Currently
T.
sitting. Yeah, Manny T on the
He goes
outside
off and
line.
drives
Was
it
this
back on. Oh,
just a bit of a nose cut? It seems. I think the
yeah,
Porsche had the inside line.
that was Manny's fault. He went off track and rejoined without really checking his mirrors. And William Farr continues to take a little body damage and turn in some decent laps.
This man is prone what seems to be long-term damage on that Porsche, and he's going to try and keep it out there as long as he can. It's only a 20-minute race, so you really do not want to waste time in a pit stop trying to get a repair done and dusted. It is going to boot you to the backside of the grid, and so William Farr just trying to hold on at this point with whatever damage he's got, hoping that it's not going to be a race end, and it doesn't look like it is, so he's going to continue pushing on strong here. In other words, though, Ian Barthelmes is catching up rapidly to the top runner there of Paul Barthelmes, so the two Mustangs are going to go scrap it out yet again up in front here for the potential lead of this race. We've also obviously got Manny Tartaglion on the backside now of Melissa Barthelmes. That's a little bit further back in 7th and 8th position. So we've got a little bit of fighting going on towards our mid-pack, and it's great to see them recovering on each other. But for the time being, our main eyes are going to be up at the top there with Paul, Andy, and Barthelmes. And there we have Owen Barthelmes still chasing onto the backside of Burton for 4th position. But the likes of Ian Barthelmes slowly getting closer and closer, and an overtake is imminent between the top two.
No doubt. Ian Barthelmes driving just a gem here. As we approach the halfway point, Ian really starting to fill the mirrors of Paul, and the Kaboom car now has something to worry about from that Zippo number 11. I tell you, this is going to be a race. He's down to under a half second, showing in the nose on the inside as Paul tries to close the door, and he does, but really, Ian just painting the bumper of that first place car in that number 11 Zippo car. An overtake is imminent, as you said, Tristan.
Yeah, and the question is how imminent, though, because obviously we already saw Ian trying to stick his nose up on the inside line there, and then the door just getting slightly shut there by Paul Barthelmes, and him having to take a slightly wider line, which reduced the speed and the chase. But here comes the combination of all the racing physics. It's going to be streamlined. It's going to be slipstream on the backside, and also the draft being generated behind for Ian Barthelmes. And as you can see, looking all around the yellow Mustang, trying to find a way around. He's been forced to the outside line, and that's going to be the less effective line for the overtake. And unfortunately, he's got to tuck back in. He's going to try and make this overtake work with a good enough lunge to make it settle and stand here for the lead of this race. But Paul Barthelmes is not going to make an easy one here for his brother. He's going to keep that black Mustang at bay for as long as he possibly can to potentially allow Sean McAuliffe to rejoin this fight. You can see he's slowly but surely trying to rejoin in the background. There's still about 2 seconds, and there he gets a yellow flag slowdown penalty as well. But he is slowly but surely catching up here. So I think that's the play here from Paul Barthelmes, wanting the 3rd place runner to catch up and potentially make this 3-way for an opportunity to run away yet again.
Yeah, he needs McAuliffe to give Ian, he needs Sean to give Ian something to think about so that Ian is less focused on the overtake of first place. And while another Barthelmes tries to join the fight, closing in on Andrew Barton's rear, this is the fight right here. As you see Owen Barthelmes looking all over Andrew for a pass opportunity. We've got Barthelmes moving at every point in the top 5 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just realized I think I know exactly which of the aircrafts from if I've got that elite ball knowledge of that livery. I think we're looking at one of the Thunderbolts, the good old P-47s. I remember the checkered flag design up on the nose of those planes. I need to double confirm my sources before I 100% lock in on that livery, but still nonetheless, we've got some American Warbirds out on track, and I would be intimidated if I was Barton behind that big Mustang, chasing on as fast as it possibly can. And Barthelmes up in front, still holding off from his brother. It is dropping though, and this right here, Derek, is going to be the number 1 overtaking opportunity. Bruno gets a black flag in the background, and he's going to have to serve that drive through. But is it going to be an overtake here from Ian Barthelmes? He's got the outside line, he's got the pull. Is it going to be enough though? The defense is masterclass from Paul on the inside line, and blocked off yet again. And Ian Barthelmes loses all that speed, and he unfortunately has to tuck in for another lap here, what it seems, on turn number 1.
Excellent racecraft and fantastic poise out of Paul Barthelmes and that yellow Kaboom car. He is under extreme pressure and just not wilting. I mean, really bringing the fight. These two brothers are challenging each other, and neither looks ready to back down. But now the Zippo car has the preferred line on the inside and looks to close the pass, and he does get it done as Ian takes the lead away from his brother Paul Barthelmes in the yellow Kaboom car, number 11 Zippo out front for Ian Barthelmes.
I've just got to say that was quite a cool camera angle we got there on the downhill slope. It was like a droned action cam there of the Black Mustang making that overtake stick, and what a great move it was for the number 11. Just a better run, it seems, on the previous corner on the likes of Paul Barthelmes, and he was able to make it stick on the inside. So Ian now in the Black Mustang takes the charge yet again here at Mugello, and that charge is imminently ending because it's only 7 minutes left of racing here, and that's all he's got to hold on for. Or can the Kaboom car try and turn it around and challenge his brother yet again? He is slowly starting to drop off here. It's about 2.5 to 3 tenths of a distance. Unfortunately, Sean McAuliffe has dropped off from 2 seconds down to 3.8, and it does not look like he's going to be joining into this top 2 fight, not whatsoever. But the eyes are also going to be on Owen Barthelmes because he needs to slowly but surely try and get past Barton if he wants to try and contest McAuliffe for that 3rd position slot.
No doubt about it. I'm sure the senior Barthelmes wants to join the fight at the front, but he's got to get around the purple people eater of Andrew Barton before he can do that. Meanwhile, the brothers just continue. Look at this over-under. He cannot make it stick, and now Ian back in front. Paul trying everything he can. Over-under, inside and out, and just cannot make it stick as we run with about 5 minutes to go. 5.5 minutes left in this heat number 1. What a race so far.
Yeah, an absolutely great race we've been given, and even though we've had a bit of a drop-off towards the backside in terms of challenges against each other, we've had a good amount of challenging up in front between the primary drivers, which is lovely to see. And unfortunately, Owen Barthelmes, I realize I can't just say surnames here because you won't know which one I'm referring to. I've got to mention the first name as well. So Owen Barthelmes, unfortunately, dropping off of Barton here a bit. You can see that he's generating a bit of a gap here now. And so he's got to work ever so more harder. There we see Bruno coming into the pit lane now to serve that black flag penalty. And so that's going to drop him down a bit. I'm not too sure if he's going to lose out to Mike Poe down in 13th, but only time is going to tell. The fight, though, is still on. There we see Bruno coming in his red and blue Fanatec Porsche and getting that Cayman serviced up in front with that black flag penalty. Back on towards the other Porsche, though, and it's the purple Cayman of Barton, still holding off from the Thunderbolt behind of Owen Barthelmes. And my goodness, it's going to still be a bit of a challenge here for him to try and keep that Mustang at bay. There we see Sean McAuliffe up in front in 3rd position. And ever so slightly, it is going to be a gain here from Barton and Barthelmes. And what we're hoping to see maybe in the next 5 or so minutes is a gain from Barton up to McAuliffe. And that would be great to see a 3-way fight. But we've got obviously a bit of a back marker there, I believe, in the background. But Paul Barthelmes, unfortunately, dropping down to 7 tenths now behind the likes of Ian Barthelmes. And unfortunately, that lead of the race, he's going to need to work extremely hard for if he wants to reconvert.
Yeah, that is Mike Poe there, going a lap down to the leaders. You know, I had lunch with Mike Poe today, and I am certain it was not in his plan for heat number 1 to be a lap down to the leaders with 4 minutes to go. Poe needs to get needs to talk to his crew chief during the gap between heat 1 and heat 2, figure something out for the second race, because this is definitely a disappointing result.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like the first race is always going to be a look back for our drivers to then take heat number 2 by storm and potentially try and rectify a couple of mistakes made in heat number 1. We are still racing at Mugello when it comes to heat number 2. So basically the same as, we see Melissa Barthelmes into the pit lane with the meatball flag. Maybe we can get a replay there of what happened. But it seems like, that's massive front end damage on that BMW. So I wonder what happened there to yeah, you do indeed hate to see it. There it is from the Jinx the Jinx M4 right into the wall, and that's to cause a bit of front aero damage. Here we see the extended replay. So into the left-hander for the number 9. Was it a bit of corner fade out? Did she lose the rear? Did she touch the grass? There's the fade out. So just losing the rear end and tries to catch it. Unfortunately, hooks a little bit too sharp and they're just not able to get on the brakes in time. And that's a complete bumper detachment. Some of the fans can go run in and grab that bumper. But unfortunately for Melissa Barthelms, that's back into the pit lane to get the repairs done on that BMW M4.
Ooh,
the rejoin
wow.
was almost.
Ooh, she just missed that martini BMW of Jason Cohen. I tell you, Melissa, I'm gonna have to request some help with Melissa on the skid pad. We got to get those. I saw that steering input, that counter steer. I think she needs to get a little more active with that steering wheel. I'll see her on the skid pad next week at the Monticello Motor Club. Back to the racing now.
Oh.
I think only one more lap left. This might be the beginning of the white flag lap. I'm not sure, Tristan.
Yep, we've got about an average of a 1 minute 58 to 59 lap time. We've breached about 1 minute and 40 seconds, and I believe our drivers are just towards the starting line of our laps. I believe this is white flag territory here for the Mustangs up in front, which is not the greatest of news here for Paul Barthelms, because it means this is all that he's got left to chase. 1.1 seconds of a gap. He needs a mistake to be major up in front from Ian Barthelms, or else he will have to settle for second. And touching the gravel like that is not going to do him any good. And that's just going to extend
almost
the time
the
even
mistake
further.
he was looking for.
Except wrong car. That would not have been good. Yeah, definitely wouldn't have been good for him over there. And unfortunately for Owen Barthelms as well, it seems just not able to get up in front of Barton in that Porsche. So the Porsche showing its advantages, it seems, in the corners, and the Mustang counter opposite showing its advantages in the straight, but just not enough to get up in front of Barton and McAuliffe in third and fourth position. And Ernsting dropping down 3 positions with that mistake up in front. Things could have been different yet tonight if he didn't lose the rear of that McLaren a little bit earlier on.
Yeah, you hate to see it. Jeff Ernsting, another great member. Happy to see him here competing in the Sim League. Not his best race here in race 1, but I'm expecting better results out of the McLaren in the second race of the evening.
Our second meatball runner seems to have also generated one next to his name. Mr. Bruno down in 13th has also been hit with that meatball flag, but the race is about to come towards an end, and I think that Ian Barthelms is indeed rocking up to the finish line. This could be another lap. It depends on when they come across the checkered flag, and it's one more lap of racing still. They come across the line with 3 seconds
2
left.
seconds to spare.
Literally, that is nail-bitingly close, and so it means we get one more time around. And Paul Barthelms, this is his moment. And look at that, Derek. He's broken it down from 1.2 down to 7/10, and he's got a chance here to potentially tackle his brother up in front.
I'm sure he's happy for this overtime lap. So let's see what the yellow Kaboom car has in store for his brother Ian out front in that number 11 Zippo. Let's see if the number 4 Kaboom has any tricks up his sleeve as he drops it down to second gear, and he's running up through the gears on this straight, tucking it in for that right-hander, heading downhill now. This should be for all the marbles in heat number 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, that time not looking too good there for Paul Barthelms. It's gone from 6/10 back up to 1.1, and seems like he's made a couple of mistakes in the second sector, dipping the wheel into the gravel, and that's just enough to overslow the car and unfortunately ruin your run on the adjacent straight. And it does not look like he's going to have it in him here to potentially tackle his brother up in front. It all depends on what his brother can generate coming into the next corners. If there's a mistake up ahead, it will be beneficial for Paul Barthelms, but he cannot just bet on that. He's got to show his own driving etiquette and his own driving skill here to try and get up in front with Ian Barthelms. I did see McAuliffe also just got himself a yellow flag penalty there from just pushing it a bit too much and getting that off track, and so he had to slow the car down. But it looks like we are officially coming across the final left bender now. Not the final just yet. There it is now. We see the checkered flag line, and Ian Barthelms running home in that Zippo Mustang. The flames up in front are vibrant and ignited, and it is Ian Barthelms coming across the checkered flag line. Paul Barthelms follows in with second. Sean McAuliffe is going to be able to keep third position in his green Porsche, followed by a Burton in fourth position. Owen Barthelms is going to come home in fifth position after a long fight in the Thunderbolt and brings it home to settle the score. The likes of Ernsting down in sixth. Ernie McLaren out on grid is going to come across Manny T down in seventh position, trying to find his way still in that Momo Mercedes, and we see Farr and Cohen also switching positions a bit there. So, bit of end of the race chasing. It seems like over here. Cohen has just lost out to William Farr right at the end of this race, it seems, and unfortunately, that's one position loss. I don't think he's expecting it so late in the race, but unfortunately, it's becoming a reality as the Red Cayman has been able to catch up on that BMW M4. They come across the final corner now, and it looks like this is going to be it. William Farr is going to settle for 8th position, and Cohen is just going to have to settle just behind for 9th. Trinker will come across in 10th position behind. Poe's already come across the checkered flag line, and Melissa Barthelms is going to come across in 12th position, what seems to be a little bit further behind, and Bruno just following as well in the background. I'm not too sure where Bruno currently sits in 13th position. There he comes across the checkered flag line. And that is officially it for your heat number 1 racing, Derek. I think we had a lot of action here, though, that we can prepare to see the same in heat number 2.
What a great track. I tell you, this track, as you said in the pre-race, this track is made for these GT4s, and I thought that was a great race. Congrats to all the Barthelms, including the classiest Barthelms, Melissa, for bringing us some great racing excitement. Sean McAuliffe, Andrew Barton also looking good, and we've got high hopes for Jeff Ernsting and Manny T. Also, Jason Cohen, William Farr, all those guys are going to have something to say about the results in race number 2 coming up in just 5 minutes. So keep your seats, race fans. We'll be right back with some excellent racing excitement and heat number 2.
We had a bit of a long warm-up that we've got over here with our drivers. And we saw that that end of race results was looking quite good there for the Barthelms, and that's obviously going to be the result of it. But heat number 2 indeed coming to you shortly, which is going to be a great one. And having a couple of our panning overshot views here of the Mugello circuit just as we wait. The drivers will have a bit of a warm-up session yet. Depends on if they come out or not, depending on how challenging the race number 1 has been for them. And so we'll have to wait and see how that goes for the remainder of our drivers progressing around the circuit. But like Derek said, we'll be right back with you in just a couple of minutes, about 4 minutes time for the starting procedure of heat number 2. And our racing action continues yet again here for heat number 2 as we get our cars lined up on the grid. Nobody came out during warm-up, and it seems like everybody finding comfort in the Mugello circuit and not having to get those bonus laps in. Ian Barthelms and Paul Barthelms remain up in front, first and second. Sean McAuliffe and Andrew Barton still sitting third and fourth, with Owen Barthelms now sitting fifth, with Jeff Ernsting unfortunately down 6th position after losing 3 spots in race number 1. Manny Tartaglione in 7th position, with William Farr in 8th. And Jason Cohen sits 9th position. Ron Trinker, 10th position, with Mike Poe 11th. Melissa Barthelms, 12th position. 13th and 14th comes in to the final couple of drivers of Matthew Bruno and Maxwell Welkiewicz, but unfortunately not gridding, it seems like, for the 2 drivers of Matthew Bruno and Max down at the bottom, so they won't be coming out onto the starting procedure. The final car here tonight will be Melissa Barthelms starting on the grid, as we have our drivers now heading down towards the first corner. During our formation lap, that Mustang pace car will be keeping them all at bay, and the drivers now all the techniques needed here to keep those tires nice and warm, get everything warmed up and pre-ready for the race start. You can see some greater angles here, a bit of a drone FPV shot that we've got on the right-hand side. You have all of our GT4s going around track. We've got the Mercedes here. We've got the Porsche Cayman GT4, the BMW M4, the McLaren 650S, and a couple of others also contesting around the circuit here around Mugello. You'll see those brake lights nice and highlighted as the drivers do a technique called brake dragging. And that is the process of accelerating while braking to keep the car moving, but also get those brakes glowing nice and hot to get the inner tire and the inner rim nice and warm, so that when the race start comes down to the first corner, we don't have any cars running with those cold tires, as cold tires can cause brake lock. They can cause essentially anything, actually. They can cause brake lock, they can cause grip loss, they can cause a bit of a confidence loss in these cars as they head down into turn number 1. And so all the drivers will be doing everything that they can to get their car warmed up and ready to go, especially your 2 up in front of Ian and Paul Barthelms, who will be contesting each other yet again here tonight. There we also have the P47 Thunderbolt in the background of Owen Barthelms, and in that Mustang also just trying to keep his stride. And as we see McAuliffe left to right, getting those tires nice and warm, getting the air filtered in and out of the OMI of those tires. And the drivers now coming slightly towards the end of their formation lap. But Derek, as we head into heat number 2, from what we saw in heat number 1 start, what are we expecting to see with the starting procedure here for heat number 2?
I'm looking forward to see this fight between Jeff Ernsting and the senior Owen Barthelms. I think Ernsting and McLaren is going to have something for that Thunderbolt American Muscle Mustang. I think Jeff has got his head together. He got all the bugs worked out in race number 1. So I'm looking to see this green McLaren take the fight to the handsome Mustang. I'm also looking forward to seeing Melissa Barthelms taking on Mike Poe in the back row. Don't sleep on that back row. Both those drivers, Mike Poe and Melissa, will be duking it out in the back of the field. Nobody wants to come in last today. So while all the excitement's been focused on those 2 brothers and the Mustangs up front, I think it's going to be a great race. And by the way, huge shout out to our control booth for fantastic camera angles tonight. I think these drone shots are some of the best camera work we've seen all season. Very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Really does provide a bit of adrenaline to the action. Yeah, but like you mentioned, something important to watch out for with Jeff Ernsting is that he did start race number 1 in 3rd position and then had that drop off, which took him down to 6th position. Now starting 7th in this race. So he's got a lot ahead of him to try and chase up on, but if he can keep that McLaren in a steady wake for the first couple of corners and he does not lose control of the car again, he could potentially be a high threat to our top 5 here, which we'll only see imminently. The Ford Mustang pace car pulls in right into the pit lane as we head towards the starting procedure. It's the same 2 that lead it off, with Sean McAuliffe just sitting behind yet again in his green Porsche Cayman. The green lights are waiting as we see the anticipation building up towards the backside there. At the back of the camera angle, it is officially green light racing as we've got Barthelms brothers coming across the checkered flag line. What a great little camera shot as well, as we see all the cars just coming over the checkered flag line. Up in front though, it is going to be the Kaboom on the left-hand side. Right-hand side is going to be Ian Barthelms trying to contest on the inner lining. Here comes Ernsting. Like I mentioned, the threat, taking the dive on the outside line. Gets slightly forced, and that's McAuliffe, who's lost control of the car in the mid-pack. Another one of our BMWs, I believe Jason Cohen, might have fallen all the way towards the backside. And that's Ron Trenker, actually, towards the backside in his Ford Mustang. So, and another one as well in the background. Yeah, Manny T in the background, just losing out. And so a lot of the action in heat number 2, a little bit different to what we saw in heat number 1.
Yeah, these drivers really getting after it early, and you can see the drag race right there. As we spoke in the pre-race, this drag race between the Thunderbolt and Ernsting in the McLaren. McLaren has the pace. He has third place pace, so being in 7th is not going to be comfortable for him. I expected a lot out of him, and he is showing up here in the first lap.
It's a bit of a mistake though from Owen Barthelms through that second sector of the corner segments, and just losing 2. McAuliffe gets himself a meatball flag. He's made a couple more incidents in the background. Oh, and there we see, I believe Cohen or one of the other BMW drivers of I believe that is indeed Cohen in 6th position, just going wide and losing out, and moves a bit further behind. Mike Poe's now got an opportunity to threaten towards the backside. There's a bit of a replay though. This is Andrew Barton, and looks like something's happened to him in his purple Cayman. Goes left, a little bit under braking, making a bit of an error, and rejoins, fortunately missing all the other GT4s and does not collect any. Owen Barthelms also trying to chase behind right now. And was this an error from his side as well? Indeed it was. And just too much speed carried in that corner from the Thunderbolt. Around it goes. I know it's one of the faster aircrafts of the World War II era, but unfortunately in racing, you still gotta try and grip to make the corner work. It doesn't just work in terms of aerodynamics, as McAuliffe still sits with that meatball flag.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's a little late on the brakes. You get a little too exuberant on the brakes. You load the front, you unload the rear, and before you know it, it is coming around. Especially easy in those Mustangs to get that rear end to over-rotate. Not quite as well balanced as the Caymans, and that over-rotation is definitely possible with those big Mustangs.
Oh, Ernsting was sitting 3rd, down to 8th position now, the meatball flag. What has happened to Ernsting yet again? And we were just talking about his third place pace, but he's made a mistake yet again in the GT4 McLaren. And I want to see what happened here, because the meatball flag being called out means that there's been too much damage on the car. Oh, that looks like hardware disconnect. He just comes right. He does not have any control of the car and just breaches into the wall and slams the brake. I wonder if he lost control there, possibly of his steering wheel, because that doesn't look like a bit of a driver error. He just lost control and went right, which is a bit of a weird one if you have to ask me.
Oh, agreed. That is definitely, I do not think that was driver error. I believe that was a connection error.
Yeah, definitely some form of mechanical or even a connection error, possibly dropping out from the server, but normally we would see our drivers completely blip out and seeing their car disappear. So my bet is 100% on that steering wheel just disconnecting, and no control of left or right, and straight into the wall he goes. I think it was too late to realize to slam the brakes, and making contact with the wall at first sight, and that's just enough to give himself that meatball flag. Mike Poe, though, completely different race. You mentioned that you had lunch with him. It seems like he's remembered the chats that you've had, and he's decided to pull himself towards himself, and up into 4th position he goes, 7 places up on the grid so far in the first 4 minutes, and he's already challenging Cohen now for 3rd position in this race. Unfortunately, up in front, the 2 Barthelms are completely pulled away, 10 seconds ahead of the likes of Cohen in 3rd position. And so, Mike, this is your only chance, it seems, for the time being, to make an overtake stick on the backside of Cohen. A beautiful livery nonetheless in that Porsche Cayman. I'm loving that purple teal fade off on that modern neon style livery. But both of them, great liveries as well. Still that chromatic martini livery also being challenged. And up front, we still got our Mustang brothers challenging each other. The Zippo versus the Kaboom. And they're at a much closer race here for heat number 2 compared to heat number 1.
Yeah, those 2 brothers door to door in those Mustangs. And how about Melissa Barthelms, the classiest Barthelms, pulling a 5-second lead over her husband, Owen, in the Thunderbolt Mustang. I tell you, you got to like the Jinx car being in front of that Thunderbolt Mustang. I can't imagine that Owen is excited about it, but Melissa must be on cloud nine right now. Let's hope that she can continue to turn really repeatable, clean laps and finish this race strong, as we are 5 minutes in, 15 minutes to go, and the Mustang brothers still just door to door, lap after lap.
Well, that's the biggest thing we always talk about in racing, is it's always going to be consistency over raw pace, and that's exactly what Melissa Barthelmes is showing currently in fifth position. As we see Cohen a little bit slow there, and that's given the opportunity for Mike Poe to go on the outside line now, and he's on the attack, but it's converted to the offense now, as he's got to watch out for the likes of Cohen just a bit further in the background. The two up in front, though, making sure that there is no contact between the two of them, and absolutely amazing racing being shown up front by the two Mustang drivers. And it's just a fence between the two of them, depending on switching. Wow, that drone is taking some risks flying through the pit lane at that speeds. I cannot lie to you. One wrong move, and you've got a drone lying in the middle of the pit lane. That would be a harsh one for that drone pilot.
I tell you, that drone is really getting after it tonight. But listen, that drone pilot risking it all to bring us these fantastic camera angles. Shout out to the control box, the producer box, really bringing the action to life here with these drone shots. And meanwhile, I think, if I'm not mistaken, again, Melissa Barthelmes also taking the fight to Jason Cohen now. Look at these two BMWs really duking it out. The Jinx car all up in the mirrors of that Martini car, while the Thunderbolt just hunts them down from the rear. This is going to be a race here in just a minute. Husband and wife, and Jason Cohen as the cork in the bottle, as Melissa looking left, looking right, trying to figure out how to get around that Martini car before the Thunderbolt catches up to her.
Having a look, though, quickly at our top movers and our top losers, unfortunately, as so far. Mike Poe up 8 positions yet tonight so far. Jason Cohen up 5 positions. And Melissa Barthelmes up 7 positions here in tonight's racing. Unfortunately, Andrew Burton down 9th position. 5 positions down. Currently sitting. Ernsting 5 positions down as well. And McAuliffe 9 positions down. Both of those two cars, unfortunately, calling it quits here and pulling out of heat number 2. That's the only thing with shorter format racing, is that sometimes the drivers do like to pull out, as there's not much to try and contest for. It's not like a 50-minute race where you've got time to recover. Unfortunately, in that 20-minute stint, you don't have a lot of time, especially at a 2-minute long track, to try and recover yourself. As you still see the likes of William Farr and Barton now fighting each other. The two Cayman cars trying to make their way around and trying to contest for something. It's good to see William Farr's car not looking all beat up like it did in heat number 1. It's nice and fresh and clean. And Barton just a bit further in the background, still chasing in 9th position. Trenker is also having a bit of his own race down in 10th right now. But up in front, it is still those two Barthelmes brothers. Unfortunately, Paul has dropped off a bit in the Kaboom Mustang, and Ian pulling just about a second's gap up in front.
Yeah, it's just been, there's a lot of fighting going on here. The Barthelmes, Melissa and Owen fighting out, Jason Cohen holding them at bay. And as you said, Mike Poe up 8 positions. I expected better out of Mike, and Mike has definitely delivered the goods here in race number 2. A little bobble with the steering, though. A little commentator's curse. I think he may be listening in, Tristan. I mean, with the commentary like the kind of commentary we're providing, of course the racers are listening in. Why wouldn't they? Everybody's here. The crowds are huge. The commentary is electrifying, as is the racing. As we see Mike Poe working his way, trying to close in on the Mustang brothers. And here's Barton and Farr still duking it out. Farr giving up a position to Barton and now trying to retake and get back in front of the purple Cayman GT4. Great racing.
Yeah, absolutely stellar racing. And one thing I always say is that where you find electrifying commentary, you'll find electrifying racing, because you cannot have the one existing without the other. And there's your electrifying racing. William Farr just getting the tap on the outside line from Andrew Barton, and unfortunately he goes round in the red Porsche Cayman. Let's have a bit of a look here at what happened, and I believe it might have been a bit of an outside rejoin. So big lunge up on the inside line there, and just an outside nose tap. from the likes of Andrew Barton. I'd like to classify that as a bit of a racing incident, and the stewards will have to have a bit of a watch through there to determine the real cause of that incident up in front. Owen Barthelmes, though, has officially joined the train, but his wife has put one car position in between them. She does not want to be overtaken yet today. There's only 10 minutes left of racing. Can Melissa Barthelmes keep the likes of Jason Cohen at bay? And hopefully, Owen Barthelmes will remain intact just a bit further behind there and not contest up in front. Melissa is trying to prove something up in front, but that 6th position Thunderbolt is looking up on the inside line, and he can see a target up in front to move up towards where Mike Poe, Barthelmes, and Cohen are all busy chasing right now. After having that drop off a couple of laps earlier, all he's thinking about right now is the recovery back up to the top 5, and that is exactly what his main mission is going to be. Manny T still on the backside in 7th position, also trying to keep up with that pack, and up in front, it looks like Paul Barthelmes has rejoined. It's down from 9th, 10th, back to 2.5, and we've got a fighting chance here for the 2 Mustangs up in front.
I mean, what a race. This Barthelmes crew is just providing racing excitement at every level of the field. The brothers duking it out for the lead, and Melissa holding off Jason Cohen. Got around Jason as I thought she would, and now Owen trying to get around Jason as well, and he just did. But Owen, there's Jason. Yeah, a missed brake zone lets Jason go into the pea gravel, and that lets Owen get through in the Thunderbolt. Let's watch the replay here.
Bit of an unfortunate one there for Jason Cohen, because he's having such a great race.
Sure. It was just a tiny mistake there, but he, dropping loaded wheels off the track is just not a good strategy for that BMW.
Well, we like to refer to the gravel traps as a clingy ex-girlfriend, because once it takes a hold, it unfortunately doesn't like to let go. And that's exactly what happened there to Jason Cohen. He makes initial contact with the gravel, and then he tries to rejoin the track, but it's just too much of a pull to the left-hand side, and then he rejoins the gravel, which is obviously what slowed that BMW all the way down back to 7th position. And as we mentioned, Owen Barthelmes has gotten exactly what he wanted, back into the top 5. But Manny Tartaglione in 6th position will be making it a bit of a tough one. The lunge is far, but it's a good lunge nonetheless. My goodness, Manny T coming with an absolute sender on the inside line from the Thunderbolt. And what a great move on the inside from Manny T.
Excellent driving there by Manny. I mean, a calculated risk, right? Like you said, he's in full send mode, but he makes it stick, keeps it on the racing surface, and really pays off huge for him. As you see, he's already opened up a gap of almost a set. I mean, he's really, what a great move by Manny T. And now he has set his sights on the pink bumper of the Jinx BMW, piloted by Melissa Barthelmes.
Yeah, and 7 minutes left. This is all that she's got left to try and hold the charge. 9 minutes to go. And if she can keep this current charge going, it's a 4th position finish, or a 5th position, depending on what Tartaglione or Barthelmes can do in 5th and 6th position. Here comes the lunge. My goodness, this man is calculating everything a couple of corners before anyone else can predict it. And Manny T makes a 2nd lunge, and that has completely thrown Melissa Barthelmes into a bit of an unpredictable situation. She goes wide, and she's lost a lot of running speed, because look on the back inside, it is the Thunderbolt. Now looking to contest on the backside. Husband versus wife has officially initiated. And Owen Barthelmes, he's either going to make a great overtake and move into 5th, or he's sleeping in the spare room tonight. It depends on which one he chooses. Up in front, though, it is still the 2 Barthelmes contesting for the win of this race.
Is chivalry dead, Tristan? We're about to find out if there's any love loss here between Owen and Melissa. Meanwhile, out front, the brothers, definitely no love lost between those brothers. They are duking it out. I can promise you, Paul does not want to go 0-2 to Ian tonight in that Zippo car. The Kaboom car will pull out all the stops here in race number 2 to get around that black Zippo car before the 20-minute mark. We only have 5.5 minutes of racing left, so the Kaboom car better get it going as Melissa continues to hold off Owen in that pink Jinx Racing BMW M4 GT4.
Let's see if she can hold on, and I really would like to see her hold on, because it would be great to see that top 5 finish. Unfortunately, the top 4 kind of got demolished by Tartaglione's very, a very risk-calculated move, and absolutely no contact for both of them, which is a majestic a note of that as well. But also just great sportsmanship from the two Bartholomews behind, who obviously got overtaken by Manny T to obviously see the position was coming in and not try and close the door and turn it into a racing incident. Oh, Melissa puts a bit of a foot on the gravel, and that's overslowed that BMW M4. Here comes the Thunderbolt. It's coming for a boom and zoom dive potentially in the next couple of seconds, or else it's going to have to stay at bay and try and relaunch an attack here. Looking all over, though, on the backside is still Owen Barthelmes with 5 minutes left of racing to go. It is closing in now ever so shortly between the top 5 runners. And unfortunately, in terms of the rest of our runners, not much else fighting going on. The rest have distanced themselves. Same at the top, though, 1.3 seconds between the two Barthelmes brothers. And so all eyes currently are on that 5th position holdout for Melissa Barthelmes. And whether or not Owen Barthelmes is going to try and contest her, if he's going to stay at bay behind, we're going to have to play the time game here. 4 minutes left to go. About 2 to 3 laps left, depending on when Ian Barthelmes comes across the checkered flag line. But the number 8 Mustang trying to hone in on his target and make the move count.
I tell you what, I am on the edge of my seat, Tristan. I am on the edge of my seat as Melissa continues to hold off that Thunderbolt. What does Owen have in the bag? What does the Mustang have for the M4? I'm just not sure.
It's going to be one that we're going to have to watch out for here. And it's probably going to run all the way down to the line, depending on how these two take it. I don't know if Owen Barthelmes is letting Melissa have it up in front, because she's made a couple of errors here, and he's not been able to pull up on alongside, unless he's also making a couple of errors behind and actually just trying to have a bit of a genuine race here. Obviously, time is going to tell. Melissa goes a little bit left again, putting her foot on the gravel, and Owen Barthelmes is still trying to close in now in the next couple of lap corners. Unfortunately, Paul Barthelmes is down 1.4 seconds now, and it looks like Ian is officially trying to solidify it here with 3 minutes left to go. He's got to watch out for what his brother does up in front, or else he might just have to settle for 2nd position. Mike Poe, though, will be holding off on 3rd position for the time being. 3 seconds of a gap behind, 24 seconds of a gap in front of him in 3rd position. And this is going to be a holdout for him. As you can see, he does have Manny T approaching in the background, and we've seen what Manny T has done on 2 cars. He can do it on another if he wants to, but he's only got 2.5 minutes left to do it. Can he do it, or will he be thrown down? As we see Barton and Cohen now making a switch as well. A move up into 7th for Andrew Barton.
What a race out of Mike Poe, too. I tell you what, he has really moved up through this field and really turned in a great performance for himself tonight. Andrew Barton,
A bit of
around Jason Cohen.
I was just mentioning quickly a bit of insight on Jeff Ernsting and why we obviously saw that that right-hand side wall tap. He had a complete PC freeze out, and everything froze, and just no control of that McLaren, and that's why we saw him headed into the right-hand side wall and out of this race for the remainder of it. So very unfortunate to see him out from an external issue. But back to the racing action. It is now the dive from Owen Barthelmes. The door gets closed, though, and he gets forced onto the grass.
Oh, Jinx is not having it. Jinx is not having it, Tristan. Owen dives into the grass, and I'll tell you, Chivalry took the right line there as he decided to not door Melissa. She closed it down rather quickly, and I believe Owen took the right evasive action with a little John Deere maneuver there, clipping some grass with that front splitter.
Yeah, a bit of a close one between the two of them. We are officially closing in. 45 seconds left of racing yet to go. And where do Ian and Paul Barthelmes sit out on track? I believe they're roughly in the middle sector here. And it's going to be a close call here, depending on where they come across the checkered flag line. Are we going to be seeing a 2 second left start of our final lap, or is this indeed our white flag lap? We did not see the marshal on the gantry waving that white flag in the previous lap because we weren't spectating Ian Barthelmes up in front. So we're just going to have to wait and see. He is rounding the final corner from what I believe. And no, indeed, I think this is going to be one more lap yet again. They're coming across the line with what looks to be about 5 seconds left of racing. Indeed, it is one more lap to go here. And this is all or nothing here. Can Owen Barthelmes, one more lap to go, get on the backside of Melissa and recontest on that Jinx BMW M4? Will the Thunderbolt have to return to base with no names claimed yet tonight?
Oh, I tell you what, the family breakfast in the clubhouse is going to be epic. I tell you what, all four of these, they drive together in real life, they drive together in the sim, and they breakfast together. What a fantastic member family we have here. And the Barthelms, I cannot wait to sample some coffee and French toast as we kick around the results of tonight's race at Mugello. What a night of racing for this whole family. And also, great race out of Manny T in that Mercedes. Really good performance. That Mercedes was in full send during the second half of this race. Closing in on the checkered flag now, though. We're going to have those Barthelmess boys taking the checker very soon. And there's Manny T chasing down Mike Poe. You can believe that Manny T wants to get around Mike Poe before that checkered flag.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see if he's got it in him. Well, it's not even the case of if he's got it in him. It's the case of if he's got enough time to do it. We know that Manny T's definitely got it in him tonight. He's got that fighting action in him. And heat number 2, he's made 2 very good dives and 1 more yet to come if he's got the time for it. But it all depends on where Ian Barthelms is currently out on track as they contest up in front. I'm seeing the 2 brothers rounding up towards the final couple of corners here. And I don't know if this is final corner. I know it's a left-hand U-turn, and it looks like it might just be. We're waiting to see that. Indeed it is. There's the pit entry line. And coming down towards the checkered flag, it's the final time Ian Barthelms is going to take a double win here tonight at Mugello. And Paul Barthelms is going to have to settle for second across the board here for the racing action. We now have a good 27-second intermission before Mike Poe comes across the line, so we can go back and watch the action between Owen and Melissa before we get to the end of this heated race, heat number 2, with the end result. Here we see Mike Poe now coming towards the end line, and look at the arrival from Manny T. 1 more lap would have done it for him, and he could have been in the contention zone, but just not enough to challenge on the backside of Mike Poe. Great podium finish for the Porsche Cayman, and Tartaglione having to settle for 4th. Melissa is going to hold it down to the line. Owen is going to have to settle for 6th position, and the family dispute is officially decided, and Melissa taking that win. Chivalry is indeed not dead. Never mind. At the end of the race, he makes it clear that
clearly a love tap there from Owen Barthelms. I'll tell you, great race out of all 10 finishing on the lead lap here. What a fantastic race out of all 10 drivers. It was very exciting to watch.
Yeah, very exciting to watch indeed. He just had to pull the Thunderbolt maneuver 1 more time. You know, the good old boom and zoom. Here he comes in for the attack. MGs are ready, and boom, 1 biplane down from the sky. And a great move from Owen Barthelms coming towards the end of this race. And thankfully, that's the end of the race. That's a checkered flag. So no concern there in terms of finishing position as we see Trinka coming across the line. Oh, that's genuine damage that he had on the front of that Mustang. I think he was carrying that for the last few seconds of that race. And there he's going to go and end that Mustang for the final time. And into the wall he goes to finish off the race result. It is Ian Barthelms and Paul Barthelms finishing off 1st and 2nd with Mike Poe in 3rd. Manny Tartaglione is going to take 4th with Melissa Barthelms and Owen Barthelms finishing 5th and 6th position. Andrew Barton is going to take 7th, with Jason Cohn just behind in 8th, William Farr in 9th, and Ron Trenker 10th position. Jeff Ernsting 11th, Sean McAuliffe in 12th, with Matthew Bruno and Max Balkiewicz down in 14th position, the 2 of them not starting tonight's racing action. And that's officially it, though, for round number 13. Derek, what were our thoughts here of our very action-packed racing here tonight?
I tell you what, as the season winds down, I think we have 2 more rounds left, finishing up on my home track in 2 weeks at Road Atlanta. We'll be back next week with another live stream race, and then we'll finish at Road Atlanta at the end of the month of April. I think these drivers are closing in on championship form, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 races in the season.
Absolutely. We head to the 2 big American hitters for the final one. It's Road America and the GT3s. That's going to be a great one to watch next week. And so you do not want to miss that action. And then our final one is going to be Road Atlanta, the Petite Le Mans in the MX5 Cups. And that's going to be a great race to watch as well. But that's officially it for tonight's racing. Thank you so much for joining us here live at the Monticello Racing Club, provided to you by Apex Racing TV. My name has been Tristan Herbst. Joined me in the commentary box is Derek Leonard. And in the background, with all the amazing camera shots tonight, was Mr. Egbar Thelms, aka Omet. Great racing nonetheless. And we look forward to seeing you for round number 14 at Road. No, let me not mess it up. It's Road America. Round number 14 at Road America. Have a great night, evening, or morning, wherever you are, and we'll see you around. Cheers, cheers.